So for policies, you can get to them a couple of different ways. So the first one is just directly on the file itself. If you knew that you had to do a policy, you can go to the file number drop down at the top and then go to title policies. And this is going to take you directly to the page that we're going to do the policy on. Or you can get to it from your work queues. So just like you guys go in to the title work queue to write commitments, this one is the final policy queue. So you can see the ones that are in here and all of the different information. The oldest ones so 44 days since confirmation means since the escrow side of the company closed out the file. 58 days is more just the age of the order since it was opened in the beginning. So there's just some more information in there, but you can see the different type of products that are on it, the premiums, everything, like the main details in here as well. So a lot of different information. You can also see the underwriter. So let's just say you wanted to knock out a bunch of First American ones all at the same time. I can click on First American down here at the bottom and filter it down just so that I'm only seeing the First American one. So if you do that, or you work on a specific, like you just want to do a bunch of lender policies for refis, those are easy, knock those out. You could narrow it down by the AL21 as well. So like this one's probably a refi because it doesn't have an owner's policy, or it's just a buyer side split. So little bit of information on there, but overall, when you're going into the policy screen, so I went into the order number drop down and the policy. This will check out the file that I'm in there, but I could also go in through that queue. But first thing you want to do is click create policy from commitment. So the first thing that will do is pop up this screen. So oftentimes you don't need to do anything here. This is if you, let's just say the lender is United Wholesale, and you know that their final policy address is something different than what they put on the closing side. And you know, every time closing gets it wrong, you can set it in the customer admin piece to have a final policy address. But right now you guys probably don't have any of those set up. So really, if there's anything, like I feel like Flagstar maybe is another one, but if there's anything that a company would have a different policy address, you could search for it in here. Otherwise, when this pops up, just click save and go on to the next screen. So what it's doing right now is it's pulling everything over from the title commitment page. So you can see this is a refinance. It's got a lender's policy over here on the left. I can see the different items involved with the file. I can click on them to just jump to it if I want to look at the lender policy, or I can just scroll through. So just like the commitment page, you have the different pieces in here. So you can see that it pulled this in as the Alta 2021 for the lender's policy. And then I have the name of the lender that's included in here. And if I need to make any changes, I can do that in the product right here. So when I click edit product, it's pulling in, actually, I wonder what happened here. It looks like actually a rate was changed or disabled since this file confirmed. Usually if it just shows a number, that means the rate doesn't exist anymore. But let's see what happens when we go through this. So if by chance you know that this was wrong on the closing side and you needed to make changes, this is where you could change the rate, or if the coverage was slightly different, you could do this. But this is going to pull in everything from the commitment page, as well as the loan number, the lender. So this is the insured name. So I'm assuming that this probably needs to have like ISAOA and TEMA after it. And you can pull that all in this screen. So this all right now just came from exactly that, from the commitment page. So if I needed to add some endorsements, like let's just say the this wasn't here, or maybe I just needed to add a different one. Like I just needed to add the Alta 9 on its own. I could pull that in right here as well, and it would add that and the fee. So you can do them one at a time here, or you can click multiple. And I'm just going to add this just so you guys can see it. So in here, I've now got that endorsement, and I can preview it. I can also do, this is more for construction loans, but just so that I'm kind of giving you guys more information on here, I can put endorsements on hold so that they don't go out with the policy when we deliver this out. So if you do have, you know, construction loans that you have to do a bunch of draws or different pieces, or you need something needs to be evaluated before you can put it out, you can just say the hold reason, waiting for additional information, whichever one applies, other, you can type in your notes. And then if you hit save, it's going to add this little watermark that it's on hold so that it can't be sent out. So just as a heads up, that's what those do. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that so that our file's not out of balance, because now we've got all the money in here. Does this all make sense so far? Pretty easy.
Super easy.
Perfect. So the next step, so I just want to go in and then I'll pick the policy date. What do you guys use for the effective date of the policy? Do you use the closing date?
The date of the recorded document.
Okay, of like let's see, let me just go to the file. So probably, yeah, you guys may have, you guys may have this page open to look at the recorded documents. So let's see if they were recorded in here. Okay, I don't know if this one's recorded yet, but let's see. Does not look like it. So we'll do this policy and then we'll cancel it. So we'll put in some fake data because this doesn't look like this one's recorded yet. So I'm just going to put the closing date.
It is a recorded file. There's a recorded deed of trust in there.
Oh, okay. It just didn't record through Settler.
Yeah, I think it did not record through Settler.
Okay.
So you'll find it.
Oh, here it is. Is this it?
Down right there. Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. It's so funny because every customer sets up their page differently. So I end up doing a lot of searching for what happens on there. Okay, so this was on the 30th. So really, we've pulled in the effective time already. You can always change it here, but it's set to 8 a.m. based on what's set in admin. And then I can type in just 8:30. I don't know if David has taught you this trick, but this is my favorite trick. I just type in 8.30 and that will expand to 8:30, 2024. So if it was 2023, I could do 8:30, 23, and it would pull that in. So that is my little fun trick here. So, okay. So when I do that, you know, I've got all of my data here. I've got 8:30 at 8 a.m. And then this will pull in the exceptions from your file. So this automatically pulled all of these in here. So do you guys delete any of these or do you leave them in here? What do you guys normally do on this one?
We'll see who says something, huh?
If that's the deed of trust that's being paid off, number 7, that would be removed.
Okay. All right, so I can click into the exceptions right here. And then I could go in, and so in here, this will look just like the commitment screen. I'll rename this so it doesn't say none. This is always a good way. It'll say exceptions or B1. You did that. It's a good way for me to see this. Policy page. Okay. So then I could go in and would you just delete this right here, like, and leave it as intentionally deleted, or would you do a full delete?
For a clean policy would be full delete along with the remaining things under that, I'm sure would not go out on the policy.
Okay. All right, so the warranty deed. And then the judgment note. Okay. All right, so then I've got these on here. I can always add more as needed. Is there anything missing that you guys see from here right now?
No.
Perfect. So I can click return to dashboard here. And so at this point now, is there anything else that you guys would do before creating the policy itself and pulling the jacket?
Did you add in the insured mortgage?
No. So is that, let's see. Do you put that under the exceptions, or where do you?
That would be item 5 on Schedule A. So right there.
Yep, cool. So, oh, hold on, that might be, let me pull this over here. Let me do something on the other page. Sorry, let me go back in here. It looks like it's missing the spot for it. Helps if I go into the right admin screen. Sorry, I'm doing this on another screen so you guys aren't bored on this. Okay. All right. Let me do this and refresh it. Name this. All right, let me go back here, go back to the policy page and refresh it with what I just did in the background. Okay. See if that helped. Ah, there we go. Okay. So then this should, I believe this should work. Do you guys have a code that you use for that? Or how do you normally type it in?
It would be 8-05M. Or deed of trust merge.
Okay. Ah, there.
All right, Christine, I'm trying to be as quiet as possible and let others talk because you're tired of me. So feel free, everybody, to chime in.
Okay. All right. 8-05. Okay. So then, all right, let me just split screen this. I think I can. Then pull up the recorded deed. I just got this computer like an hour ago, so it's a little different than I'm used to using, so, but better. Okay. All right, so then, and then this will probably be a little bit different in Utah than it is. So who is the trustor and trustee?
So the trustor, normally that's where we put the borrower.
Okay. So I can do equals B for that, for the borrower insured name. So that will pull in a second. And then who's the trustee?
The trustee is Paul M. Halliday Jr. So it's on the top of the second page.
Okay. Yeah, in Colorado, the trustee is the county. So, all right. So it's this whole thing, Paul M. Halliday Jr., Halliday and Watkins PC,
Yeah.
or just Paul M. Halliday?
Well, Paul M. Halliday Jr.
Okay. All right. And then for the lender, you can also do an equals code. So we can set this up in the background so you don't need to type this in every time. But we can do equals LN for the lender name. And then the amount you can do equals LA. And then the date, is this the date that it was executed or the recording date?
The dated would be August 26th.
8.30. And then
How did you get your Schedule A line to pull in so you could add that? That's where I get stuck.
I think it's because I didn't have it set up right. So I was doing that in the background. So I think that was my fault. And I want to see if I did it right. So we're going to check after this to see if it did pull in. And that part is right.
Okay, so if that doesn't work for me, then maybe I'm just not set up right yet.
Yes, it's likely that I didn't do something right. On the back end, so it has nothing to do with you. It's all an admin thing. So I thought this was a little bit further than it actually was when I was just looking at it before this. So we may just need to do a little looking and do a little more setup after this. So this is kind of a good way to see what happens. So let's see if this now fills in on that page. I think I have the tab open too many times. There it is. Okay, cool. So that did work. So I will go in and add that on everything else. So this will pull in the data. So anything else we're missing on here?
Is that going to be in paragraph form?
It should be. We can, let me just see here. Oh, this is First American. I was thinking Old Republic still. Yeah, so it'll look like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think on that screen, it's just kind of clumping it all together. So what I just did too, sorry, sometimes I move too fast, is click the preview policy button. So at this point, I don't have a jacket from the underwriter, so I don't have their jacket number and the different pieces with it. So this is just what would be without the jacket inside the system. So just a heads up on that. So I can then click request jacket and we can undo this if it doesn't work. And I haven't tried it yet, so hopefully the password works since it works for everything else. Oh no. So if you get error messages like this, let us know. It means that there's just something not set up in the background. And I was kind of concerned about that one. So I guess in Resware, when you guys did this for your bundled endorsement, did you have to select each of these separately, or how did you guys handle that? Did you have to go to AgentNet for it, or what did this look like when you were pulling a jacket?
So Utah is the only place they bundle them. Idaho does not bundle, and I
Okay.
don't believe Wyoming bundles either.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. So were you able to select something in Utah for this, or?
So
No.
on our policy template or our policy form itself, for the standard endorsement, they're listed there, and then we just put a check by them.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, because when I was doing the mappings, essentially I have to go in, let me see, and say inside each endorsement what it matches to on their side. So like a 9.10, what does First American call it based on what we are calling it inside the system? So when we're in the integration, they need to know that it's these 3 endorsements. And so that's what I was trying to determine, is if there was what you guys were doing when it was bundled, those 3 together.
But when in Utah, when I go in the underwriter side to balance my file as far as remittance and premiums and stuff, I have to manually add them in because they don't, the underwriter itself doesn't bundle them.
Okay. And
They're
that's what I
both
was
separate
wondering. So you guys basically would have to go in and make this 3 separate endorsements.
On the underwriter side, yes.
Okay. And all right. I might just need to do a quick update. So then I think so I think what we'll want to do is create this. And this, you can kind of consider this as the underwriter side because we're transmitting everything to First American. And they're going to, so this saves you from having to do anything. Okay, so then if I delete that. See, this is all good things to do together. So I don't know, David, we might just want to think about that if that's the best way to keep bundling them in the background like that, or if there's a better way to do it.
Yeah, I've been jotting that down. We'll have to.
Okay. Just so it's not extra work on the policy side. I mean, I guess in Utah, you saw it took like 2 seconds to do that. But just as a thought to make it easy for those that are doing policies all day. Okay.
Can Utah and Idaho be set up differently as far as the underwriter where we use the same underwriters?
Yes.
Idaho can keep them separate and Utah can keep them bundled if that's what they choose.
So they do have it bundled, but what I'm kind of getting at is that you can't, the underwriter, like you guys said, is not going to recognize that as an actual one. So they could bundle it on the commitment page, but it will still need to be split out like this on the policy page. So that's the main difference, is that when you're using the integration, it won't work if they don't know what it is. So just like everything else, if it's Spanish and if they're trying to read it in English, they're not going to understand it. And that's kind of what's happening here.
And you're saying if we have them separated here on our policy, when we request that jacket, that information is going to automatically pull into the underwriter side?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So basically, and every underwriter is a little bit different. First American is the one that has the most done. They have everything that pulls in. They do rates and endorsements and products, but sometimes each underwriter does it a little bit differently. And sometimes, like if Westcor, you have to select all these items on the screen that pops up. And so it could just be a little bit different, but I'll kind of, you'll be able to easily see it. So let's see if this works now to do the request jacket button. It just did map it. Let me just see if it pulls up. Huh. Oh, I know why it didn't work. Sorry, this is my fault. I'm doing stuff on another screen, so just so you guys know, I was uploading some things for a change for how I had this set up, and I forgot to do one piece, so that's what was going on. All right. And then David and Allie, I'll show you all this stuff that I'm doing in the background as well, in case you ever need to do this. But
Are there dogs running around with you today, or just you?
They are not in here right now, so so it's good. There's they're letting mom work for once.
You're the only one I can see, so.
Yeah, I saw a little fluffy tail a second at the beginning. Alrighty. one more try. Okay. All right, let's try this again. Let me refresh. So you shouldn't have to refresh or do anything different, but that's just because I'm making some changes. There we go. Okay. So this should pull in. So this is showing you the product, the premium, the proposed insured, all of the loan information. And this will automatically go over. This is the endorsements. I'll figure out why this isn't showing up if we get an error here. Okay. So then here's some of the other items. So it's looking for an address for the buyer or borrower. So if the closing side hasn't put in a final address for them, it's going to give you an error. So if you see things like this, like missing address, it is going to ask you for that. So for the closing or the escrow side, oh, there's no address in here at all. Let's see, Maria, Michael. Okay. So I'm going to add an address for them in here. All right, let's see what it says now. Okay, so now the lender doesn't have an address. And this, so it feels weird that the lender address wouldn't be in here. Because it should have been on the CPL. So I wonder if the CPL they just created separately. Just see. Lender documents. Okay, so they must have done the CPL outside of seller. So this one, hopefully when you guys are doing this, it's not going to be this way, but this is just something to transmit back to David and say, hey, we're seeing this pretty frequently, that there's no address for the borrowers or for the lender. And so I need this different information. So just make sure you share with him if things like that are missing. Okay, so I guess the 700 South Boulevard East is probably the right one.
Whoops.
And you can never, ever type when people are watching you. So feel free to make fun of me. So this now should pull in. I might have to refresh. And I suppose I could have done it right here as well to put that address in for the lender. The buyers, it doesn't normally come up in here. It needs to be done down on the party screen, but here I could have done the lender. Okay, try again. Okay, this is a good sign. Nope. Okay. All right. I was waiting for you guys to do this, so I apologize. There's some little bugs. So I will send this one over to the developer. Just take a copy of it so that he can look at it and see that I have
Melanie, I think you should tell us a joke, or Kylie, or anybody have a good joke for us? No?
They're like, no, I got nothing.
Everybody's pretty quiet.
Okay. Let me just, okay. So I'm going to check one more thing. I just sent that over to the developer so that he could look at it. Has anybody done a policy yet or completed one, or is this the first time people have done it?
I've tried, but I haven't been able to make it this far.
Okay, so it was that probably that Schedule A thing. Okay.
Was that Kylie or Melanie?
That was Melanie.
Melanie? Okay. I just wondered. Sorry, it's a little muffled on this end.
I just want to make sure that I have everything set up right. Or it should have worked because it pulled in everything else. Oh, I know what I was going to look at. Okay. Okay. All right, I think. Okay, let's just try this. Let me try one other thing. And if this doesn't work, then I will send how to do this separately. It may be that First American is having an error too. That is in there. So basically at this point, what would happen is the jacket would pull back in and you could preview that on the document here, and it would add to it and add the lender or the policy number onto here. So it's creating a policy number right now, which is no, that actually looks like a First American one. So there's something wrong with the integration that it's not pulling back in. But it will pull that in. And if you ever had to get a policy number from elsewhere, you could always type it in right here. So for instance, DOMA, we do not have an integration. So DOMA, you would have to get a jacket number from them directly, however you guys do that right now. And you would go in to the edit product and then type in the policy number right there. The other thing while I'm in here, just so you guys can see this, if you ever have to do a pro forma, you would go in and click the pro forma button and it will add a watermark onto that document so that it shows that it's a pro forma and you're able to send that out. So you can see you've got the pro forma piece in there. So it's super simple just to go in and then take that off when you're done right here. Yeah, it's saying it did it. So I think it was just a fake error. So when you're ready, you can deliver the policy. So you could use, do you guys print and mail them or do you email them normally?
We email them, but how do we sign them?
They will be automatically signed like the commitments are. So are you, where is the signature normally on your, like Dacey's is on this one because it's Utah.
Okay,
So
so it's already been set up with a signature on them.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so WestCore and DOMA, we don't sign the jacket, we sign the policy template.
Okay.
Is that set up to work that way as well?
I can do that. And I may just need to look at them. So is it on like the Schedule A that the signature is?
Yeah.
Okay. I know I did that on the commitments, but I'll check on the policy documents. I can always do separate documents for them. Okay, signature on Schedule A. Okay. So I'm going to deliver this just to myself. So it should pull up, there's different places to send this from. So you could send it as yourself or you could send it as on the closing team. But when I go in and send it, you can see that the endorsement documents are already attached to it. So these policy components shows everything that it's creating. So you've got the loan policy document, the endorsements, and then if there was ever anything in the file that was uploaded as a title document that you wanted to send along with it, then you could check these and it would pull that in. So you could do that.
So we won't check the endorsements on our policy anymore. It's actually going to attach an endorsement form to the policy.
Do you do short form lender policies or long form?
In Idaho and Utah, we just do long form.
And we do short form in Wyoming, at least at Sweetwater County.
Okay, Idaho and Utah, long form, but you use the check boxes.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, looking at that policy component part right there, is that saying that my policy's there and those 3 endorsements are attached?
Mhm.
So if they're attached, there's no need to check my boxes then.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So there's 2 different policy documents I can pull in the background for the long form, either with check boxes or without. Most people just liked that the documents automatically sent with it. And so then you didn't have to mess around with that. So it sounds like this should be fine for Idaho and Utah, but Wyoming, you want the short form on all lender policies or just some?
In Rock Springs and Green River, we do the short form on most refinances. But if it's a commercial refinance, we do the long form. So we actually use both.
Okay.
I do have a question though. Under your policy components, you show Alta loan policy schedule A.
I just changed the document in the background because the one I had the jacket was pulling in, and so it will say the right thing. This is something I just did for right now. Great question. Good. You can tell title people with the attention to detail. So yes, it'll just say like Alta loan policy 2021. And then just before I move on, for the short form on refis in Wyoming, is it the current assessments form or the assessments priority form?
I would have to look. I don't have a clue.
Okay.
Without going in and looking.
Okay, yeah. If maybe you guys either you could send it to David and he could send it on to me, or just a short form that you've done, it should say on it which one it is. There's just like slightly different verbiage in it that does that for you. And then the check boxes on short forms are also an optional field. And so we list out all the endorsements that are on the file for you, so you don't have to do the check boxes. So those will be on there, but yeah, I can update that for Wyoming once I know which one it is.
Before you send this, can we go back and look at Schedule A on the policy again?
Yeah, this part right here.
On the policy itself, like, can you preview that and show me Schedule A?
Yes.
Okay, and then number 5 is my legal, and then what's under 5? Does it just go to the next? Okay, so this doesn't have the check boxes on it.
Right.
Okay. Okay. That's what I wanted to see, was if there was a spot we could check them or not. Nope. So that's great.
Not on the one that I've created for you. Yeah, it would have to be a different document in there.
Okay.
And I'm not sending this to the for reals. I'm just sending it to myself just to show you guys that, or I was just pulling up the screen because I want you guys to. I'm not capable of policies, so I don't want to have that responsibility. But so you can either, if there was like if you wanted to send it to the mortgage broker, you could. You could also just type in the email that's listed right here and send it to that. And then the way it gets out of the policy queue is by selecting this post a delivery step. So if you like if I was to send it to myself right now without this delivery step posted, it would stay in the queue. You could be like, I want to send this along with somebody else to look at, or it's a performance, so I'm sending that separately and I don't want to take it out of the queue. So this is when you're done with that policy and don't need to do it anymore in there. So once you send it, it will post the step of policy delivery, and then it will automatically remove itself from the queue. So that's kind of the basic overall of that one. and doing it. So I guess for me, I think I need to just do a little research with the developer on why that error came up, but it did pull in a policy number, and then make sure I have the Schedule A set up for you guys to pull in that information onto number 5. So that's the main things I was going to do. And then I need to do a short form document. Is there anything else that stuck out to you guys on here?
So I have a question on sending that.
Yeah.
So when I send my policies, my lender's policy, I send my warranty deed or my recorded deed of trust with it. So when you do your policy here and then you do deliver, it takes me right to my email screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a way for me to attach another document at that point, is there?
I wonder if I can add it to the supplemental documents. Let's just see.
Like on an owner's policy, we would email the warranty deed, and on a lender's policy, we would send the deed of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Or does it save it in my documents and then I can go into my documents and select them both and send them from there?
Yes, so both. So let me just check real quick and see if I can. So this file is a bad example because the recorded document won't, it was done outside of Settler.
Okay.
But let me just check one thing real quick on this setup and see if I can add. I think what I can do is this. Well, if this works, I will pull
Will
it
you
in.
add a mortgage to that as well for Wyoming files?
Yes. Okay. All right, let's see if this does it. Okay, so it looks like I need to see. I'm wondering why it's showing it if it doesn't know if it's there. If you, okay, that's trying to create the document. Okay, let me look at that. So yes, the second step, if I can't figure this part out, is if you needed to create the policy, you're done with it on your side. If you deliver it, you would just deliver it to yourself if you wanted to send a separate email. And then on the documents page, it will auto create in the policy section at the top there. There's nothing in it right now because we didn't post the delivery step, but you could click that and then you could go down and click on the recorded deed of trust and then send that over.
So the post the delivery step is what gets my policy into my documents tab.
Yes.
So if I have to, like, I get a request from a lender 5 times sometimes for the same policy, it's not going to be in my documents unless I do that post to delivery.
It just needs to be done once, and so then it will be there. So then even like if when I was a closer, I used to get requests for it all the time. So I would see it in my documents page and I could just click on it and send it to them. So once it's done, it's done. If there's updates that need to be done, then you just need to do that in the screen that we were just in, if there happened to be like an endorsement missing or pieces along those lines.
Okay, but there's not like an upload or a publish button to put it in my documents?
That's kind of what the button is, the policy delivery button,
Okay.
so that it knows that it's done, because essentially the reason we don't have that is that we don't want it to be available for somebody else to send when you're not done with it yet. So if I saw it in there as a closer, I would think it's done. And so we're waiting until someone says, I'm done with this, by doing that policy delivery step.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Yeah, it's safety first. You don't want to send out the incomplete one in there. What other questions do you guys have? Things that I need to set up, things you thought are missing?
So I
Christine,
have a
it's,
question on title only.
Okay.
Not creating the policy. How do we move a title only to the policy queue?
So are these title onlys, do they have a commitment document ever, or do they just go straight to policy?
No, there's a commitment, and then like Cache Valley Bank closes it, brings us the deed of trust, we record it. We're gonna do an invoice and then issue policy, but we don't handle any of the escrow side of that other than, well, no escrow. We're not closing it. We're just invoicing for title fees and then issuing a policy.
Okay, so yeah, David and Allie and I had been working on that, so we actually just set something up yesterday. So when it kind of depends, there's a couple of different ways. For those ones, do you wait to do the policy until you have the money in, or do you do it anyway and just know you're going to get the money?
We do them anyway, but a lot of times we're waiting for title clearance stuff like recons or something. And so I'm just worried about those files getting lost out there if they're not being moved to policy after recording.
Okay.
So one thing Carm and I have been doing, Melanie, is like confirming a file as if we had closed it, like doing the escrow confirmation steps. Because it's the confirmation that moves a file into the policy queue.
Yeah.
But it won't let us confirm a title only if our file's out of balance.
So
We've
that's
been
what we
able to
just
delete
did for the
those
out of balance
and
piece.
put it
So-
in balance.
Yeah, so we did just fix that. The other thing that Allie and David and I could talk about is, oh, this is after confirmation. I was going to say there's in the setup, you can say after confirmation, this makes it wait to go into the policy queue. I thought it was the other way around. But yeah, that's usually the main thing that can be done, or is to confirm it. So what we just created was a way to do invoicing so that the file will be in balance, even if you don't have it. And so you would be able to confirm still, and then it would go into the policy queue. So confirming is the best way to do it, or we can also do some other steps that populate it to the work queue if something else is done. So if there are some milestones, or if there's a specific order type that we want to do something different with, then we can set up a process to do it. But I think whoever does the recording would just want to go in and confirm the file, and it will be in balance with the new stuff that we just made.
Okay, so even if our file's out of balance now, it will let us confirm it, or we have to do the invoice.
It would have to, so what we created, and probably David hasn't showed everybody this yet because we literally just showed it to him on Monday. So in here, you can see this is my test file. So obviously it's kind of a mess, but I created a couple of different invoices here. And so let's just say, and I use Cache Valley Bank as an example. So I did the closing fee, which obviously doesn't apply if it's a title only, but the recording fee and then the lender's policy. So if these were the only fees on it and I had an invoice outstanding for it, it wouldn't force me to have that money in order to confirm. So the closing side, or somebody needs to have done this invoice side so that it knows I'm expecting money later. And so once there's a real invoice like this, you can see it's created the invoice to Cache Valley Bank. And so it actually created a document to send out as well. And then when they created the invoice, so this one, and this was us just playing around with it, but this just says this is what the fees are. This is the amount credited, which is 0 that we've received. And this is the total amount due at this point. So because this has all been created, the system knows that it will be coming later. and it won't send the money over to accounting for that money until you actually receive in the funds, but it will move it to the policy queue.
Okay. And maybe we're gonna cover that another day, so maybe I need to just
So-
be patient and wait a little bit longer for that.
Go ahead, David.
Which piece? This invoicing part?
Well, we tried the
So-
invoicing in a file this morning, it still wouldn't let us move.
Okay, yeah, so I did, late last night, I shared, Christine, with all the managers to share with their staff what we did here with the invoicing piece and some details with that. We haven't talked about it as a company yet on a webinar, but the information's out there. And so we'll need to just keep talking, Melanie, as it relates to that.
Okay, so
So
just
you and I
incorrect,
can-
the only way to move a title only then is if we have the invoice created.
You could, or the other way to, I mean, if you know about it right now, you could just go into the policy page and do the policy. So you could be on the file, it just won't be in the queue. So if you know that there's a file outstanding waiting for it, I could just search for the file number. Like if I wanted to go do this file, I could go in, search for that one, and then this file is confirmed, so this one's actually in balance, but I could just go directly to the title policy page, and you can create and submit a policy without the money being balanced. So that part doesn't matter, but just getting it into the queue comes from either confirmation or there's step codes that automatically get posted when you confirm it, which is this policy ready. So technically what I could do, like on my file 101 here, is on any page in the file itself, I could post that step code to history here. So I could hit the plus button and type in policy ready, I believe, here. And then this would put it in the queue when I hit save. So actually, I'll just do it real quick. So then it should show up in here. So you can see that's my file 101 because it's not confirmed. It's certainly not in balance because it's a test file. And it's showing up inside the policy queue now because I did that policy ready step. So those are kind of the two different ways to get it in there right now.
Okay. Perfect. I know that was kind of a sidetrack, but
No, that's perfect. And it's important for me to know like what needs to happen still so that I can get you guys going. So, so that's helpful with me and David too, so we can figure out what we need to do.
Yeah, and for us at Northern and our flows, I mean, everybody out there, I mean, obviously each office does it a little different. And a lot of offices, the same people are doing all these steps all along the way. There's a few offices that we're trying to consider what the best way is. If we want the recorder to be the one generating that invoice, or at what stage do we want to kind of do that? And so, yeah, there's just a few things that need to be tidied up still there.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
But again, I just want to reiterate, and Christine can talk to this too. I mean, we're hoping for we're looking at a different way of invoicing. What's been created is kind of a short-term fix and workaround, right? This isn't going to be like the long-term maybe fix there. So more to come on that though. So.
well, I did do an invoice that way this morning and it was pretty easy. I will say that.
Yeah, great.
Look at you jumping
And
on
what you have to remember is the whole tracking part of it, and for accounts receivable and all those kinds of things. But yes, it does work pretty good. So thanks to Christine for that, because that was a lot of extra work that she has been doing.
It was all the guys, all the developers. So there you go, mostly Mike. So, so I know we're kind of coming up on the hour. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to get the developer on the phone that for the error that we saw. And then my game plan is to at least do the commitment on this file, or I'm sorry, the policy on this file and record it for you guys. So I'll at least do this, and I won't do the policy delivery step, but I'll do everything up until it, and so that you guys can see that. Oh, and then the only thing, I have one other thing I just want to show. If you need to cancel your jacket when you're in that policy screen for whatever reason, like you're just training and doing these things, you can click the cancel policy button and it will ask you if you want what the reason is to cancel it. And so like, I'm just going to say data revision, probably because somebody wants to look at this, and you want to likely check this box. It mostly will check it automatically for you to copy the existing policy to a new data. So all that work we did of deleting a few exceptions and then adding the item to Schedule A, this will keep it. If you don't have it checked, it will make you start all over and have you do everything on your own. So always have that checked is probably the easiest thing to do. So then this will cancel it. And then if you have any canceled ones, it shows down here at the bottom which policy number was used, and the information, if it was for the lender's policy, the owner's policy, who did it, and what the reason was. So just as a heads up, that's down here so that you can see all of that information as well.
Hey, Christine, what about, what are we? We're Wednesday. Monday, would we be able to continue and look at pro forma?
Really, there's not
like
much to do other than just clicking the pro forma box.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, definitely we can.
Okay. Well, let's see how these things that you'll reach out and do take effect, and then we'll consider if maybe we need to do that or not. Okay. I feel that same way, but if people feel, and I'll talk to them internally about that. But
okay. Yeah, I think once you understand the exceptions, like clicking this exceptions button to kind of get into that and edit those different items, add the Schedule A item if you need to there, all of those different items, I think that makes it easier. And it was probably just overwhelming to do all those different things. So I have a couple set of things to do I think will help, but yes, we can do whatever on Monday.
Okay, we'll see where that goes.
Just a quick question on the pro forma.
Yeah.
Will it automatically put the note at the top and the bottom, or are we going to have to add those as the exceptions as well? There's two notes that go with the pro forma. One basically says this pro forma was made on this date for John Smith. And then the bottom, the ending note talks about the pro forma policy.
I think you would add those in on the exception, if that's where, is it on the exceptions page or somewhere else that you have that note?
One's on top of Schedule A and one's at the bottom of B.
Okay. If you could send an example of that to David so I can look at it, I think I should be able to add just an if statement to pull that in for you, but I'll just ask our document team on that.
On the policies, is there a Schedule B2? Because I don't recall seeing that.
Yes. Yeah. So that's just sections I need to add. So yes, there's Schedule B right now, and then I can add B2 as well. So these are all just if there's something missing per policy type that you want B2 or you don't, then you would have that on here. So it'll be on here. I just need to go set those all up. I'm going to do that right now.
Shouldn't Schedule B2 be on every lender's policy, whether there's anything on it or not?
Yep. And it would say NA because there's a paragraph that has to be inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there should be a Schedule B2.
Yeah, so the policy documents will pull in this screen. It's pulling in just things that you could add to that document if needed. So the document in the background should pull it all in, but I'll double check all of that after this, that it's always there. But I'll also have a spot here just in case you guys need to add anything to it.
Okay, Christine, it's 2:04. You're probably needing to get elsewhere.
Yep, that's okay. Yep. So I will, I'll do my homework after this and probably send you guys some other items after this. And, yeah, if you have issues, feel free to, either reach out to David or, you can do Allie, or you can go to me directly if it's an urgent thing. And we can see so if there's something you're just like, something's missing, something's wrong, just send me the file number and say, this is what's missing and this is what I need. And I should be able to just make some admin changes. So, don't be behind on policies just because you're waiting for a response. So if there's something urgent that needs to go out, especially like a pro forma, feel free to reach out. We'll get you guys taken care of.
Okay. Very good. Okay, thanks, Christine. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and until next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.